While the world obsessed over China's tech rise, a small Southeast Asian nation just became the Pentagon's secret weapon, and they're hiding it in plain sight. This isn't about oil. It's not about palm oil. It's about something far more powerful, something that's inside the device you're watching this on right now. But wait. Before we begin, please subscribe to ensure that you never miss out on any of my essential stuff. Comment, "I subscribe," below, and I will personally welcome you to our community. With that said, let's get started. Malaysia manufactures 13% of the world's semiconductors. That's more than South Korea. Yet I guarantee 90% of you watching this can't name a single Malaysian tech company. That's not an accident. That's strategy. Let me introduce you to Chen Wei. He's a 34-year-old electrical engineer from Penang, and in 2019, he started noticing something strange at his workplace, Intel's massive semiconductor facility. Pentagon contractors were visiting monthly. Not quarterly. Not annually. Monthly. One afternoon, Chen overheard a conversation that changed how he saw his job forever. Two American officials were discussing critical supply chain diversification. One of them said, "If Taiwan goes dark, this facility becomes our lifeline." That's when Chen realized something the rest of us missed. We weren't just making chips. We were becoming America's Plan B. And he was right. According to a 2023 MIT Technology Review study, Malaysia now controls 7 of the world's top 10 semiconductor testing facilities. Your iPhone? There's a 23% chance it was tested in Malaysia. Your car's computer? 31% probability it was assembled there. But here's what nobody's asking. Why Malaysia? Why not India with its billion people? Why not Vietnam with its lower wages? Why not Mexico, right on America's doorstep? The answer involves a 40-year-old Pentagon strategy that's finally paying off, and the story is absolutely wild. In 1985, the U.S. military had a terrifying realization. They were one geopolitical crisis away from losing access to all advanced electronics. Japan dominated semiconductor production, and after the Plaza Accord forced the yen to appreciate, Japanese tech became expensive, dangerously expensive for Pentagon budgets. So the Department of Defense did what it does best. It planned for the worst. A 1987 Rand Corporation report identified Malaysia as the optimal semiconductor hedge location. The reasons were strategic: political stability, English-speaking workforce, U.S.-friendly government, and here's the kicker. They're 12 hours ahead of U.S. time zones, perfect for continuous 24/7 production cycles. Sarah Lim, now 58, was Malaysia's trade minister back then. In 1988, she personally negotiated the first major U.S. tech investment. I asked her what her pitch was. She smiled and said, "Political stability, educated workforce, and we're 12 hours ahead. While America sleeps, we work. While we sleep, America works. Perfect synergy." Her vision? Intel's $4 billion facility opened in Penang in 1989. She told me something fascinating. We knew we were playing the long game. We knew that in 20, 30, 40 years, this would pay off. Nobody else did. They thought we were crazy for focusing on semiconductors instead of textiles or agriculture. That strategic patience is now paying trillion-dollar dividends. But the real explosion didn't happen until 2018, when China made one catastrophic mistake. China's Made in China 2025 plan was supposed to make them the global tech leader. Instead, it accidentally triggered the biggest tech migration in history, and Malaysia was waiting with open arms. When the US-China trade war began and tariffs hit 25%, companies faced an impossible choice: pay massive tariffs or relocate. Between 2018 and 2023, $280 billion in foreign tech investment left China. Malaysia captured $67 billion. That's 24% of the total. More than Vietnam, Thailand, and India combined. McKinsey Global Institute's 2023 report found that Malaysia experienced the fastest semiconductor sector growth of any nation from 2018 to 2023, a staggering 340% expansion. David Tan lived this transformation firsthand. He was a 41-year-old factory manager in Shenzhen when his US-owned company made the call in 2019. "We're moving to Johor. You have 60 days to decide if you're coming with us." David had never even considered Malaysia. "I thought it was just beaches and jungles, honestly. Tourist stuff. Then I flew down to see the facility we'd be moving to." He paused when I interviewed him. "It was more advanced than anything in Shenzhen. Cleaner. More automated. Better infrastructure." He made the move. Today, David manages an $800 million facility that employs 3,400 Malaysians. Here's the part that shocked me. Malaysia didn't steal these companies. They didn't offer unsustainable tax breaks or turn a blind eye to labor violations. They positioned themselves for 30 years, built world-class infrastructure, educated their workforce, and waited for the world to need them. If you've ever wondered how small nations become economic powerhouses overnight, you're not watching an overnight success. You're watching 3 decades of patient strategy finally pay off. But, and this is important, there's a hidden danger the Malaysian government doesn't want you to know about. Malaysia's tech boom is creating a 2-tier society that could tear the country apart, and it's happening faster than anyone predicted. The numbers are stark. The average salary in Malaysia's tech sector is $42,000 per year. The national median income? $10,200. That gap is widening by 18% annually, according to World Bank data from 2024. Meet Aisha Rahman, a 29-year-old teacher in Kuala Lumpur. She has a master's degree and 6 years of teaching experience. She earns $14,000 a year. Her best friend from university went to a 3-month coding bootcamp and now works at a semiconductor testing facility. 2 years of experience. $38,000 annual salary. When I asked Aisha how that made her feel, her answer gutted me. "I teach the next generation." She tests microchips. Why is her work worth 3 times mine? But here's what really haunts her. "I'm considering leaving education for tech." But if everyone chases money, who teaches our kids? A 2024 University of Malaya study found that 41% of Malaysian educators are considering career changes due to wage stagnation versus the tech sector. That's not a brain drain, that's a brain hemorrhage. And it gets worse. Housing prices in tech hubs like Penang and Johor have increased 156% since 2018. Young Malaysians are being priced out of their own cities. Malaysia risks becoming a nation of haves and have-nots, divided by a silicon curtain. But as devastating as that social fracture is, it's not even the most dangerous problem. There's something the Pentagon fears even more, something that could unravel everything overnight. Malaysia's biggest tech investor isn't the United States anymore. It's China. And Beijing is playing a very different game. Between 2020 and 2024, Chinese tech investment in Malaysia totaled $23 billion. U.S. investment in the same period? $19 billion. Why is China winning? Simple. No questions about human rights, faster approval processes, and willingness to invest in infrastructure beyond just factories, roads, ports, power plants. But here's the terrifying question. What happens when U.S.-China tensions force Malaysia to choose sides? According to the Center for Strategic and International Studies 2024 analysis, Malaysia faces what they call the Singapore dilemma. They must balance 2 superpowers or risk losing both. Ahmad Hassan, a 52-year-old government economic advisor, described his nightmare scenario to me. The U.S. demands we cut Chinese partnerships. China threatens to pull investment if we comply. We lose either way. He told me about a secret meeting in 2023 where Pentagon officials asked for loyalty assurances. Malaysia's response? We told them, Malaysia isn't a pawn. We're a partner. There's a difference. Then Ahmad said something chilling. But for how long can we maintain that position? How long before one side forces us to choose? Malaysia is walking a tightrope over an abyss, and the fall could be devastating. If you're thinking this sounds familiar, you're right. It's the exact same situation that destroyed smaller nations during the Cold War. Yugoslavia, Vietnam, dozens of African nations caught between superpowers. So how does Malaysia plan to survive? Their answer is brilliantly simple and incredibly risky. Malaysia is attempting something no other Southeast Asian nation has tried, building their own tech ecosystem that can survive without either superpower. The strategy has 3 pillars. First, force tech transfers. Foreign companies must train Malaysian workers and share intellectual property. Second, invest in homegrown innovation. $8 billion has gone into Malaysian-owned startups between 2020 and 2024. Third, education overhaul. Malaysia now produces 200,000 STEM graduates annually, up from just 67,000 in 2015. The Asian Development Bank's 2024 report found that Malaysia's Tech Sovereignty Index increased 340% since 2018, the highest in all of Southeast Asia. This strategy has a face, and her name is Priya Krishnan. She's 26 years old, the daughter of factory workers, and a full scholarship MIT graduate. In 2022, she turned down a $200,000 Silicon Valley job offer to return to Malaysia and start an AI company. Her company builds AI-powered quality control systems for semiconductor manufacturing. It's now used by 12 major manufacturers. She just closed a $45 million Series B funding round, employs 89 people, and is profitable. When I asked her why she came back, she said something that stuck with me. In 10 years, Malaysia won't just make chips for Apple. We'll make the machines that make the chips. We'll own the process, not just perform it. Malaysia isn't trying to be the next China or America. They're trying to be Malaysia, a middle power that's indispensable to everyone. And that might be their greatest strength. But this strategy has a critical weakness, the same weakness that nearly destroyed Malaysia once before. In 1997, Malaysia was Southeast Asia's rising star. High growth, massive foreign investment, boundless optimism. Then the Asian financial crisis hit, and Malaysia lost 40% of its economic value in just 11 months. The parallels to today are terrifying. Then, Malaysia was over-reliant on foreign investment. Now, same pattern, different sector. According to the Malaysian Economic Monitor 2024, 73% of the tech sector is controlled by foreign entities. The vulnerability is obvious. If a global recession hits, foreign companies pull out first. Always. Tan Sri Ibrahim is 71 years old. He survived the 1997 crisis as a business owner. His memory of those days is vivid. I watched factories close overnight. 200,000 jobs disappeared in 3 months. The social fabric almost tore apart. His warning to today's generation chilled me. Young people think this boom is permanent. It's not. It never is. Booms end. The only question is whether you're ready when they do. His advice? Malaysia must own more of its success, not just host it. We must be partners, not employees. An IMF historical analysis from 2023 found that nations dependent on more than 60% foreign tech investment face 83% higher recession vulnerability. Malaysia is well above that threshold. Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it. If you're wondering whether Malaysia learned its lesson from 1997, the answer is complicated, because there's one factor nobody predicted that changes everything. In December 2024, Malaysia became one of only 6 nations with sovereign quantum computing capacity. They did it in 18 months. The Malaysia Quantum Initiative launched in 2023 with a $2.1 billion investment. By 2024, they opened the first Southeast Asian quantum research facility in Cyberjaya, in partnership with IBM, Google, and Malaysian universities. Why does this matter? Because quantum computing could make current semiconductors obsolete, or exponentially more valuable. Malaysia is betting on the latter. Here's the shocking part. According to Nature Quantum Information's 2024 report, Malaysia's quantum investment per capita actually exceeds Germany's. That's unexpected for a nation with 1/5 of Germany's GDP. Dr. Nora Aziz, a 38-year-old quantum physicist, was working at CERN in 2018 when she felt what she calls the pull to contribute to Malaysia. In 2023, she was recruited to lead the quantum initiative. Her revelation: we're not trying to beat the US or China in quantum computing. We're trying to be essential to both. There's a difference. Her flagship project is quantum encrypted supply chain tracking for semiconductors, unhackable tracking from silicon mine to smartphone. 7 nations are interested. The Pentagon is evaluating it for defense applications. Malaysia is betting its entire future on being indispensable, not just useful. They're playing to become the Switzerland of semiconductors, neutral, essential, prosperous. But some experts say they're overreaching, and if they're wrong, the consequences could be catastrophic. Not everyone believes in the Malaysian miracle. In fact, some economists think it's already cracking. The warning signs are real. Brain drain continues. 40% of Malaysian STEM graduates still leave for Singapore, the US, or Australia. Infrastructure is lagging. The power grid has struggled with 24/7 fabrication demands, causing 3 major blackouts in 2024. And corruption remains an issue. Malaysia ranks 61st globally, below Estonia and the UAE, according to Transparency International's 2024 index. The Economist Intelligence Unit rated Malaysia's tech boom sustainability as moderate risk in 2024, citing structural governance challenges. James Wong's story illustrates the problem. He's 33, returned to Malaysia in 2021 full of hope, and left again in 2024. I wanted to be part of the story, he told me. I built a startup, hired 12 people, had real momentum. What happened? Permits took 8 months. Every government official wanted consultation fees. That's code for bribes. After 2 years of fighting the system, I relocated to Singapore. It's 45 minutes away, but a different universe in terms of efficiency. His regret was palpable. Malaysia has the talent. It has the resources. It's being held back by a system that rewards connections over competence. Potential doesn't equal success. Execution matters more than plans. Malaysia has the potential, but potential can be squandered. Still, dismissing Malaysia entirely would be a mistake, because what they're building isn't just about economics. It's about survival in a world splitting into hostile camps. By 2030, whoever controls semiconductor supply chains controls the global economy. Malaysia just became a kingmaker. The geopolitical calculus is brutal. Taiwan tension means the US desperately needs alternatives to TSMC. China containment means every semiconductor facility in Malaysia is one that China doesn't control. And Malaysia's leverage? They can now negotiate with superpowers as equals, a rare position for middle powers. The Council on Foreign Relations 2024 report stated that Malaysia has achieved strategic indispensability, a status enjoyed by very few nations. Malaysia faces 3 possible futures. First, full US alignment. Massive investment but loss of Chinese market access, $67 billion in annual trade at risk. Second, China alignment. Access to the world's largest market but risk of US sanctions and tech cutoff. Third, the balancing act. Maximum profit, maximum risk. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar has been clear about his position in multiple public statements. Malaysia will not choose sides. We choose Malaysia. In 2024, he approved both the US-based Micron's $10 billion expansion and Chinese solar giant Trina Solar's $5 billion facility on the same week. Both superpowers were unhappy. Both are still investing. His bet is simple: they need us more than we need to pick them. But a former U.S. trade official I spoke with, who insisted on anonymity, offered a stark warning: that strategy works until it doesn't. Ask Ukraine about playing both sides with Russia and the West. Neutrality is a luxury that evaporates in war. Malaysia is playing the most dangerous game in geopolitics, and somehow, so far, they're winning. If you're feeling anxious watching this unfold, imagine being a Malaysian policymaker making these decisions in real time. So is Malaysia's tech boom a miracle, a mirage, or a time bomb? The answer is all three. It's a miracle because they've attracted $280 billion in investment, created 400,000 high-wage jobs, and achieved semiconductor superpower status in just 6 years. It's a mirage because wealth inequality is exploding, brain drain continues, infrastructure is struggling, and social fractures are deepening. And it's a time bomb because they're walking a geopolitical tightrope between hostile superpowers, structural corruption threatens to strangle growth, and they remain dangerously over-reliant on foreign capital. The same vulnerability that destroyed them in 1997. Here's a stat that should blow your mind. Every smartphone in your pocket is a small bet on Malaysia's stability. There are 6.8 billion smartphones in the world. That's 6.8 billion tiny dependencies on one nation not falling apart. By 2030, Malaysia could be the Switzerland of semiconductors, neutral, essential, prosperous, the trusted partner of all sides. Or it could be the next Sri Lanka, debt-ridden, unstable, abandoned by investors, another cautionary tale of overreach and mismanagement. The difference between those outcomes will be determined by decisions made right now. Chen Wei is still at Intel Penang, now training the next generation of engineers. Priya Krishnan just raised Series C funding and employs over 200 people. Aisha Rahman switched to tech education, teaching coding to underserved kids in rural areas. Ahmad Hassan still advises the government, still anxious about the tightrope, still hoping they don't fall. Malaysia's story isn't finished. It's being written right now, by millions of people making individual choices that collectively determine a nation's fate. Here's what I want to know. If you were Malaysia's leader, would you align with the US, China, or keep playing both sides, knowing that one wrong move could destroy everything? And be honest, before this video, did you even know Malaysia was a tech superpower? Because 90% of people don't. That's what makes this story so fascinating. The world is being reshaped by forces most of us aren't even watching. Drop your answer in the comments. I'm reading every single one because this debate is absolutely fascinating, and there's no clear right answer. And if you want to see how Singapore is quietly panicking about Malaysia's rise, because they are, that video drops next week. You won't want to miss it. Remember, the next global tech war won't be fought with weapons. It'll be fought with semiconductors. And Malaysia just armed up.